Nobody at Blakewood Industries expected anything unusual that night. The rain was falling hard, the building lights were dim, and most employees had already gone home. But when CEO Claire Dawson stepped out of the elevator on the 18th floor, she froze. Her janitor, quiet, kind-hearted Evan Miller, a single dad everyone liked, was standing in the hallway, his hand gently covering her mouth, his eyes wide with fear. And with a shaky voice, he whispered, "Don't go inside." What Claire didn't know was that this moment, this strange, terrifying moment, would reveal a truth that would change her life, her company, and her heart forever. Before we dive into this unforgettable story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your channel name. Your support helps us bring more powerful and emotional stories straight to you. Claire Dawson was the kind of CEO people whispered about. Not because she was mean, she wasn't, but because she was untouchable. Clean suits, quick steps, sharp mind. She ran the company like a machine. She didn't dislike people, she just didn't know how to get close to them. Her world was numbers, deadlines, and decisions that kept 5,000 employees afloat. On the opposite end stood Evan, the night janitor. 34 years old. Worn-out sneakers. Second-hand uniform. A single dad who raised his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, with more love than money. He never complained, even when life stretched him thin. He cleaned floors while dreaming of giving Lily everything she deserved. The two rarely spoke beyond polite greetings. "Good night, Ms. Dawson." "Good night, Evan." That was it. One Thursday evening, Claire stayed much later than usual. A storm had knocked out the power in nearby buildings, and rumors spread that theirs might be next. She was planning to review quarterly reports before heading home, unaware that Evan was also working late, overtime he desperately needed. At 10:14 p.m., the power flickered. At 10:15, her security app pinged. At 10:16, she stepped out of the elevator onto the quiet top floor. The hallway smelled faintly of cleaning solution. The lights buzzed overhead. And just as she reached for her office door, Evan appeared out of nowhere, his face pale, his breathing uneven. He gently covered her mouth, not to scare her, but to stop her from making a sound. "Don't go inside," he whispered urgently, pointing toward her office. Claire's heart pounded. She looked into his eyes and didn't see danger. She saw fear. "What's going on?" she whispered back, her voice trembling. "There's someone in there," he said. "I heard noises. I thought it was you, but the lights were off, and," he swallowed hard. "I think they're stealing." Claire's first instinct was to march inside and confront whoever it was. But Evan placed a steady hand on her arm. "Please," he said softly, "just trust me." It was the first time she ever heard him speak more than 3 words at once. They stepped back down the hallway, keeping quiet, listening. The rain hammered the windows, but underneath the storm, there were faint shuffling sounds, someone rifling through drawers. Claire's mind raced. Her office held confidential files, sensitive documents, and her late father's watch, one of the last things she had left of him. She felt heat rise in her chest. "I need to call security," she whispered. "No," Evan said quickly. "I already tried." The storm knocked out their lines. They're on a different grid. Claire felt the situation spiraling. She was a CEO, she was supposed to be in control. But right now, the janitor, the quiet man she barely knew, was the only thing standing between her and danger. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Evan looked around, studied the hallway, and pointed toward the emergency stairwell. "We stay here. I'll keep you safe." Those words, simple, steady, sincere, hit Claire harder than she expected. Minutes passed like hours. The noises from her office grew louder, then stopped. Footsteps echoed. A door closed. Silence. Evan waited another long moment before nodding. "I think they're gone." When they finally entered the office together, Claire's chest tightened. Papers were scattered. Drawers open. A picture frame smashed. Her laptop missing, her father's watch gone. She sank into her chair, devastated. Evan crouched beside her. "I'm so sorry," he said quietly. "I wish I had stopped them." She looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time. "You protected me," she whispered. That matters more. For a moment, the storm outside felt far away. The next morning, security footage confirmed everything. A disgruntled former employee had slipped in during the storm and fled with valuables. Evan's quick instinct likely prevented a confrontation that could have turned violent. Word spread fast. By noon, employees were calling Evan a hero. The news didn't interest him. He only cared about getting home to Lily before her school day ended. But Claire couldn't shake the feeling that she owed him more than a thank you. The following week, she found him mopping the lobby. "Evan," she said gently, "can we talk?" He looked surprised but nodded. They sat in her office, now repaired and brighter than ever. Claire took a small box from her drawer and set it on the desk. Inside was her father's watch. "They recovered it," she said softly. "Security found the thief." A relieved smile flashed across Evan's face. "And," Claire continued, "I've been thinking. You kept me safe that night. But you also reminded me of something I'd forgotten, that people matter more than paperwork." Evan shifted awkwardly. "I just did what anyone should do." She shook her head. "People don't do that enough." Claire opened another folder, a larger one. "I saw your employee history. 7 years. No complaints. No missed shifts unless your daughter was sick." She smiled. "You're a good man, Evan." His ears turned slightly red. "So," she continued, "I want to offer you something." He blinked, confused. "I'm promoting you to facility supervisor. Full benefits. Better pay. More stable hours." She paused. "You've earned it." Evan's mouth opened slightly. "Ma'am. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll accept," Claire said warmly. Tears filled his eyes. This will change everything for Lily. That was all the confirmation she needed. Over the next few months, things shifted. The company felt warmer. Claire began walking the floors, checking on employees, learning their names. She laughed more. Smiled more. People whispered again, but this time, with admiration. One afternoon, she visited Evan's new office. On his desk was a small drawing of a stick figure family. Above them, in a child's handwriting, were the words, "Thank you for helping my daddy." It was signed, Lily. Claire felt something she hadn't felt in years, connection. Later that day, she found Evan sorting maintenance schedules. "You know," she said, "I'd love to meet Lily sometime." His face lit up. She would love that. And so, the CEO who once kept her distance found herself sitting at a park picnic table that Saturday, sharing sandwiches with an 8-year-old girl and the men who had protected her without hesitation. Claire watched Lily laugh, watched Evan be the gentle, patient father he was, and realized something. Kindness wasn't just a moment. It was a bridge, one she had crossed without even knowing. Through that single act, their lives intertwined. Claire became someone who didn't just run a company, she cared for the people in it. Evan gained the stability he needed to give Lily a brighter future. And Lily gained someone who saw potential in her father the same way she did. Sometimes, kindness shows up in the most unexpected moments, on a stormy night, in a quiet hallway, in the courage of someone who chooses to protect instead of walk away. And sometimes, that kindness doesn't just save a person, it changes them. So let this story be a reminder. Every act of goodness matters. Every moment of compassion ripples further than we can see. And you never know, your kindness might just be the turning point in someone else's life.